The sacred verses. The Book of Virtue. A is the first of the alphabet. God is the primary force of the world. What is the use of all your learning if you can't surrender yourself to God? Those who surrender themselves to God, who resides in the flower-like hearts of all, will live long and well. Those who surrender to God, who doesn't have wants or hates, will never have any hassles anywhere. Fate, which impacts those in the darkness of ignorance, will not block those who praise the true greatness of God. Those who follow the true moral path of the One who has doused the desires of the five senses will last long. Except for those who surrender to God, for whom there is no equal, it is tough to cure regrets. Except those who surrender to God, the ocean of morality, others will struggle to cross the ocean of desire. The head that doesn't bow to God is similar to numb or senseless organs. Those who surrender to God will cross the great ocean of life, others won't. The world survives because of the rains, and therefore rain is known to be the nectar of immortality. O rain, you not only create everything we eat, you are the indispensable food yourself. If the skies fail to rain, the world, though surrounded by sea, will yet suffer of hunger. If the monsoons fail, farmers won't till their lands to produce food. It is the tormentor. It is the savior of the tormented. The rain is everything for us. Unless drops of precious rain fall down, not even grass will sprout its head. Even the vast ocean will start shrinking if the clouds that took the water away from it don't pour it back. Special offerings and daily rituals to gods will stop if the skies dry up. Charity and self-discipline will both cease to exist in this world if the clouds are not charitable. World can't survive without water, and morality can't exist without rains. All books willingly conclude as the most excellent the greatness of those with the right conduct who have given up attachment. Trying to quantify the greatness of those who have overcome desire is like counting those who have died till now. The greatness of those who have known the nature of both worlds and have eschewed desire to live a righteous life is most admirable in this world. Using the elephant guiding tool called resoluteness, one who controls the elephant, named five senses, is sowing for future greatness. God, the King of divine realms, is an example of what the ability to conquer one's five senses can result in. What separates the great from the ordinary is their ability to do the seemingly impossible. One who has analyzed and conquered the urges of taste, sight, touch, sound, and smell will control this world. The words of those glorious people who control their minds completely become the gospel. Those who have scaled the mountain of morality will not allow their anger to last for a moment. All and only those righteous people who shower love on all living beings can be classified as righteous person. Righteousness yields good reputation and wealth. Is there anything more precious? Morally correct conduct is the most precious possession. There is nothing more harmful than straying from it. Keep doing the morally right things in every possible manner wherever you go. True moral integrity lies in being flawless in your thoughts. Everything else is loud and empty display. Righteousness is all about removing the four flaws: envy, desire, anger, and harmful words. Do the righteous deeds now without waiting for mental decline to set in. They will remain your permanent companions then. One man lifting another on a portable chair can't be justified as the fruit of any prior moral deeds. Never let a day pass without a good deed. It makes this life fulfilling and the next unnecessary. True joy blossoms only due to righteous deeds. All else cause unhappiness and disreputation. A righteous deed deserves to be done. An evil deed ought to be avoided to protect oneself from disgrace. A good family person is one who supports all three relationships, parents, wife, children, in a balanced and righteous manner. A good family person also extends support to saints, poor and needy, teachers, God, guests, relatives, and oneself. It is important to nurture all these five in addition to the family. One who earns well but avoids the blame of hoarding wealth by generosity will lead a complete life with no complaints. If love and virtue pervade the family life, they become the characteristic and fruit of the family life. The only way to live is to live righteously. If you set aside virtues, what more is there to gain? One who leads a normal and intimate family life is far ahead of those who seek other priorities. If one lives by the right virtues and assists others to do the same, such a family life is better than the self-discipline of saints. True virtue is to lead a harmonious family life. It is even better if it is beyond others' blame. One who lives worldly life the way it ought to be lived will be treated on par with the gods inhabiting the divine realms. A spouse who possesses virtues, required for the family and spends within the means, is the ideal life partner. If your spouse doesn't possess the virtues needed for married life, whatever else you possess in life is irrelevant. If your spouse has the qualities suited for family life, what is it that you don't have? If not, what is it that you have? If your spouse is strongly virtuous, can there be anything worthier than your spouse? A person who respects the spouse more than God is like rain that pours instantly on demand. A woman not only protects herself, but tirelessly takes care of her husband and preserves the family reputation. Is it of any use to possess women by imposing physical barriers? A woman will remain virtuous only on her own free will. If a woman gets a spouse with great character, she will enjoy the greatness of divine realm on earth. Those who don't have respectable family lives will not be able to stride with a lion-like pride before their opponents. A great harmonious married life is a boon. Having good offsprings adds luster to it. Other than having children who are wise enough to know what needs to be known, there is no other treasure that I value more. No harm will befall one for even 7 births if one gives birth to children who have blameless character. One's children are defined as one's wealth. The wealth that the children make will be through their own deeds. The porridge stirred playfully with the tiny hands of one's children is sweeter than nectar. The tender skin of one's children is joyous to touch, their sweet voices blissful to hear. Only those who don't listen to their baby's sweet babble will claim that a flute or harp sounds melodious. The duty of a father towards his children is to give them an early advantage in learning over the best of scholars. All living creatures on this earth feel prouder when their children are smarter than themselves. A mother feels more ecstatic to hear her son being praised as a noble scholar than when the son was born. The duty of a son towards his father is to make others wonder what great deeds did the father do to deserve such a son. Can there be a method to conceal love? It will reveal itself through tears when a loved one is in trouble. Loveless people hold everything to themselves. Those who are filled with love bear even their bones for others. Precious life is associated with the body, since love is associated with the way of life, people say. Love yields affection for all, which leads to invaluable friendships. The honor for those who found joy in this world is the result of leading a life of love, it said. The ignorant think that love is needed only for righteous deeds. They know not that love is an ally for bravery too. A life without love will be stung by the righteous conscience like a body without bones that is burnt by the sun. A life without love in the heart is as futile as a dried-up tree blossoming in a desert. What useful things can external body parts do if the heart is devoid of love? Only a person who follows the path of love is in a state of living, else it is just a skeleton dressed with skin. The purpose of nurturing wealth and leading a family life is to be able to be hospitable to guests. Even if you have nectar that will assure immortality, it is not appreciable to dine alone, leaving the guests out. One who is hospitable to guests every day never suffers because of that. Divine prosperity will reside happily with someone who attends to his guests with a smile on the face. Does one even need to sow his field if he always eats only what remains after feeding his guests? One who is hospitable to his guests, and when they leave, awaits his next guests, will be a welcome guest in the divine realms. We can't quantify the benefits of hospitality. It is limited only by the quality of the guests. Those who don't take up hospitality as a spiritual ritual will later repent that they have lost the wealth they loved. There are fools who choose to be poor despite possessing wealth by not being hospitable to guests. The flower, red chickweed, shrivels when it is smelled. A guest will wilt if the host's face betrays the slightest twitch. The words uttered by wise teachers will only be kind words carrying love and no malice. To be someone who speaks sweet words with a smile is even better than being generous with a happy heart. To look at someone with kindness, to smile at them and to say kind words is a nice virtue. Deep poverty will not afflict someone who speaks only kind words to everyone. Humility and kind words are the greatest treasures for anyone and not anything else. If one seeks and speaks kind words that benefit everyone, righteousness resides and harm recedes. Speech that is inseparable from sweetness will yield just consequences and will reflect right virtues. A sweet word, said without the slightest hatred, will provide delight in this life and the next. Having seen the sweet benefits of kind words, why should one utter harsh words? To say harsh words when you have nice words is like plucking an unripe fruit when there are ripe ones. A favor done, not as return for another, is more valuable than divine realm and earth put together. A timely favor, however trivial its material value is invaluable. If we delve into the real impact of a favor done without calculating the returns, it is vaster than the ocean. Those who know the true value of a favor will see for even the smallest favors, a tree, where they were offered a grain. A favor returned is not to be based on quantum of favor done, but on the magnanimity of the person who did the favor. Never forget your ties with a flawless person. Never forego the friendship of those who stood by you during a distress. One would remember the friendship of those who helped overcome a distress forever, even if there are 7 births. It is not right to forget the help rendered by someone. It is virtuous to forget any harm the moment it is done. Even if a person commits murderous injury, it will be overlooked if he has done one good deed earlier. There is salvation for faltering on any virtue, but not for ungratefulness. Position of power is good to occupy when one practices impartiality, consistently, towards all sections. The wealth of one who has a balanced view will remain intact and will last for the next generations. Even if some good comes out of the gains generated by being unfair, refrain from making that gain. Whether a person has been just or unjust in life will be ascertained by the nature of offsprings left behind. Ups and downs in life are inevitable. Noble scholars are embellished by not letting their hearts vacillate in either case. When the heart falters to think unfairly, be alerted that you are on course for ruination. The world will not think ill of one who has stumbled into poverty because of being fair and righteous. Like a weighing scale that is balanced and sways correctly, the grace of noble scholars lies in dispassionate assessment. It is righteous to speak words that are not deviant. Such words are a result of unbiased thoughts that are not deviant. Responsible business is when a business person, caringly, deploys other people's money as one's own. Restraint will result in a place among the divine. Lack of it will lead to utter darkness. Preserve your restraint as you would preserve your wealth. For humans, there is no treasure more precious. The greatness of one who is wise and follows the right path by being restrained will be recognized and appreciated. The stature of one who doesn't diverge from the right path and remains restrained will belittle a mountain. Humility is a good quality in everyone. In particular, for the wealthy, it is like their wealth. If one can restrain his five senses, like a tortoise that retreats into its single shell, it will be a protection through 7 births. You can afford to lose control over anything except your tongue, else the words that you spit will return to bite you. Even if there is one harm caused by harsh words, all the good caused by other virtuous deeds will also be seen as evil. A wound caused by fire will heal inside. A scar caused by the tongue never heals. Virtue will wait for the moment to adorn one who controls anger, learns all there is to learn, and exercises restraint. Proper behavior confers prominence. Hence, proper behavior is cherished more than existence. Take painstaking effort to preserve proper behavior. After researching all there is to, one can conclude it is the best ally. Class is determined by proper behavior of conduct. Improper behavior will lead to being considered part of an ignoble class. One can relearn if he forgets the texts, but a Brahmin ceases to be one when he strays from his dignity. A person who has envy has no wealth. A person who has no dignity has no growth. The strong-willed don't shrivel their proper behavior, knowing the suffering inflicted by improper behavior. One attains eminence through dignity. One attains unprecedented disgrace due to indignity. Good conduct becomes the seed for goodwill, and improper behavior always yields agony. Those who practice proper behavior find it impossible to utter harmful words, even forgetfully. Those who don't learn to abide by the decorous norms of the society, even if well-read, are unwise. The indiscretion of desiring another's wife will not be found in those who are enlightened about virtue and possession. Of all those who have been beyond the boundaries of morality, there are no greater fools than those who go after another's wife. A person is not any better than the dead when he indulges in adultery with the wife of another who trusts him. What worth is one's reputation, however big it is, when, without considering the least bit, he has an affair with another's wife? One who indulges in adultery with another's wife, even when it is easy to do so, will beget a blame that will stay forever. Animosity, sin, fear, and vengeance, these 4 will never leave one with a liaison with another's wife. One who leads a righteous family life will not crave the feminine grace of another's wife. The magnanimous machismo of not coveting another's wife is, for noble scholars, an exalted virtue and decent dignity. Whosoever deserves all the good in this world, surrounded by the fearsome ocean, will never surrender on the shoulders of a woman who belongs to another. Even if one is unrighteous and does many a wrongdoing, he should, at least, not fall for the feminine charm of another's wife. Like the earth that bears even those who till it, supreme virtue is to be patient with one's deriders. One should always tolerate a transgression. It is even better to forget it. Turning away a guest is the most abject poverty. Enduring the excesses of a moron is the mightiest might. If you want to lead an unabated, fulfilling life, you have to preserve and practice forbearance. One who retaliates is not held in high regard. One who is patient is precious as gold. Those who retaliate rarely rejoice for a day. The reputation of the patient remains till the end of the world. Even if an untoward evil is done unto you, it is better not to resent and do an unrighteous deed. Defeat a person who has, out of arrogance, done you harm by your forbearance. One who, patiently, bears the harsh words of a transgressor is purer than a Puritan. Great ascetics who conquer hunger by fasting are inferior to those who patiently endure the harsh words of others. One should make it a righteous way of life to hold no envy in his heart. Not being envious of anybody is a rich reward. There is nothing that can match it. One who, in his envy, doesn't appreciate the wealth of others is known not to value virtue and his own wealth. Those who know of the ills inflicted by envy will not do anything evil out of envy. One who feels envious of the wealth given away as charity will have even his kin suffer without anything to wear and eat. For destruction to be caused, there is no need for enemies. If one has envy, it will suffice. Divine prosperity will despise a jealous person and direct him to her sister. Spiritual poverty. Envy is a damned ill that will destroy one's wealth and consign him to a fiery inferno. The wealth in the hands of a person with envy at heart and the destitution of a person devoid of it are aberrations that need to be analyzed. An envious person doesn't ever attain greatness. Of those who have no envy, there is none who has fallen from greatness. If, without fairness, you desire to usurp the well-earned wealth of others, it will destroy your family, trigger more crimes, and result in guilt. Those who refrain being unfair will not sin, coveting the material benefits of others' possessions. Craving for the cheap thrills that others' money can give, one who seeks true happiness will not do an unrighteous act. One who is flawless and wise and has mastered all senses will never feel "I'm poor" and yearn for others' wealth. What is the use of deep wisdom and broad knowledge if one acts indiscreetly with anyone, coveting his wealth? One who seeks to be compassionate and manifests it in virtuous ways will succumb to destructive thoughts and acts if he falters and covets others' possession. Do not covet others' wealth. On fruition, the consequences are always contemptible. How will one's wealth never shrink? By not desiring to usurp the wealth of others. Wealth will find means to bestow itself on those who, knowing the virtue of not coveting others' property, wisely refrain from it. Coveting others' wealth injudiciously will result in dire consequences. One who takes pride in not so desiring will meet success. One who does good deeds much beyond what books on virtue prescribe will benefit more from never backbiting anyone. To wear a deceitful smile in one's presence, but to slander him in his absence, slaughtering his reputation, is more harmful than refuting all that is virtuous and doing unrighteous deeds. It is better to die than to live by backbiting and then being hypocritical. So dying may yield the benefits spoken of by moral texts. It is passable to speak impolitely to someone face to face, but never utter an imprudent word behind the back. One who extols righteousness, but is insincere at heart, is exposed when he is devious enough to backbite. One who smears another behind his back opens himself up to similar smear when he falters. Through slander behind the back, one who gets estranged from friends is incapable of indulging in pleasant talk and gaining friends. If one is known to habitually sully his friends for their faults, what damage would he do unto others? Out of its commitment to its virtue of patience, the earth tolerates the presence of a slanderer on it. If one looks at his faults in the same light as others' faults, will any harm befell the lingering human lives? Those who make vain discourses, hated by many wise, will be disparaged by all. It is more harmful to speak vain words in front of many than to do contemptible deeds to your friends. One's gracelessness is exposed by his elaborate hollow speeches. Vain words spoken without dignity to a group are ungainly, unrighteous, and yield no gains. Reputation and respect will be lost when an affable person speaks worthless words. Call him not a man, one who speaks vain words. He is a scum. A noble scholar may speak ungraciously if he has to, but he must refrain from speaking vain words. The wise, who seek to understand deeper significance of things, will not utter words with no substantial worth. Those who are flawlessly wise and have overcome all delusion will refrain from speaking worthless words, even unconsciously. Speak such that what you speak is worthy. Speak not if what you speak is not worthy. Sinners do not dread, while great men dread the delusion of evil deeds. Vile deeds yield vile results, and hence, vile deeds are more fearsome than fire. The most important among all wise deeds is to refrain from doing harmful deeds even to those who hate you. Desire not the destruction of another, even subconsciously, else virtue will determine the destruction of the one who desires so. Don't commit anything evil in the name of poverty. The poorer it will render you. If one wishes not to be tormented by painful reactions, do not harm others. There is scope for surviving any sort of enmity, but there can be no relief from the repercussions of an evil deed. The shadow stays rooted to the foot. The evil that men do will remain to torment them. If one loves himself, he shouldn't do an evil act, however small it is. Know a man to be free of torment if he doesn't take a shortcut to do an evil deed. Doing one's duty without desiring any favors is like rain. What can the world do in return for the rains? The purpose of one's hard-earned money is to be deployed to help the deserving. In this world and the other, it is tough to attain anything better than beneficence. One who is aligned to the right ways of the world lives amongst the alive. The others are placed amongst the dead. The wealth of the wise one who loves and is loved by the world is like a public pond brimming with water. Riches falling upon the benevolent resemble a ripe tree laden with fruits in the middle of a village. Riches falling upon a person of great qualities resemble an unfailing herbal tree that is a source of medicines. Even in times of distress, those who don't shy away from beneficence have clear vision of their moral responsibilities. A benevolent person turns poor when he laments his inability to do the good deeds he is used to doing. What harm can come out of beneficence? Such harm deserves to be bought even by selling oneself. Giving to the poor is charity. All else have the quality of anticipating a return. To receive is a vice, even if it is accepted as a good virtue. To give is good, even if the divine realm is denied. Charity, without mention of the distress of poverty, is present only in those from a good family. To be asked to give is bitter too, until one sees the smiling face of the recipient. The strength of the strongest is to endure hunger. It trails the ability to eradicate that hunger. To douse the destructive hunger of the destitute is the safe to store the riches of the rich. Hunger, the deadly disease, never touches one who is accustomed to share his food with others. Do they not know to enjoy the joy of giving, those loveless people who keep their wealth only to lose it? Eating alone to increase one's accumulated wealth is more distressing than begging. There is nothing more unbearable than death. That too seems sweet if one is unable to give a thing to the needy. Give and live with fame. There is no other gain for lives. All that storytellers capture is the famous that rests on those who give to the needy. Nothing other than incomparable fame lasts forever in this world. The world of divine beings will cease to praise pure scholars if one, through his deeds across this world, earns everlasting fame. Growth of fame amidst adversity and survival of name after death are possible only for the smartest. Appear with fame if you must appear. If not, it is better not to appear than appear. Why do those who live with no fame, instead of blaming themselves, blame those who revile them? Blame will remain for those who, with no fame, have no legacy to leave behind. The flawless, fertile yield will diminish for the land that bears a body with no reputation. Those who lead a life free of blame are alive. Those who live devoid of fame are not alive. The gains of compassion are most precious. Material wealth is possessed even by the despicable. Pursue the virtuous path and have compassion. All spiritual quests lead to this companion. Those with their hearts filled with compassion will never enter a miserable world of darkness. The compassionate, who care for all other lives, do not fear for their own lives. The fertile world which gives us with breathing air shows that there is no sorrow for the compassionate. Those who do evil, abandoning compassion, must have abandoned and forgotten the meaning of life. The poor do not possess this world. Likewise, the uncompassionate do not inhabit the other world. Those who lack wealth may one day bloom. Those who lack compassion are hopeless and are forever doomed. The uncompassionate doing a righteous deed is like the unwise finding true enlightenment. When you face those weaker than you, think of yourself in front of a stronger person. How can someone possess kindness if one eats meat from another body to grow one's own body? One who doesn't value money can't be wealthy. One who eats meat can't be compassionate. The heart of one who has eaten and enjoyed flesh is like the heart of one leading an army. It cannot be compassionate. What is compassion and the lack of it? Not killing and killing. It is not virtuous to eat meat obtained by killing. Survival of creatures depends on not being eaten. Those who eat them, hell will not split its mouth to spit them out. There won't be anyone selling meat for the sake of earning if the world stops killing for the sake of eating. Meat is the wound of some body. If one gets this realization, stop eating it. Those who have wisdom, free of flaws, would not eat a body, freed of its life. To refrain from killing a life and eating it is better than doing 1,000 rituals, offering gifts. To one who doesn't kill and refuses meat, all lives will fold their arms and pay respect. To endure any ordeal and to cause none to other lives embodies self-discipline. Self-discipline makes sense only for those who have been virtuous. For others, it is useless. Is it to assist the ascetics that the others have forgotten self-discipline? Those who do self-discipline, if they so choose, can crush those who harm them and elevate those who delight them. Since it gives the power to attain whatever one wishes to, self-discipline needs to be attempted at the earliest. Those who do self-discipline do their duty. Others engage in futile tasks, ensnared in desire. Like flame that makes gold glitter more, pangs of pain can only enlighten those who do self-discipline. One who has taken control of his life will be praised by all. Those who have mastered self-discipline will find it possible to even defer death. The poor are abundant, since those who observe abstinence are few, and those who don't are more. The deceitful conduct of a treacherous mind will be sneered at by the 5 elements within. Is a sky-high prominence of any use when one's heart knowingly harbors a vice? A person with a frail heart, assuming an imposing appearance, is like a cow grazing wearing a tiger's skin. Doing wrongdoings in the disguise of an ascetic is like a hunter capturing birds from behind the bushes. If those who claim to have given up material desires indulge in deceitful conduct, it will cause suffering in abundance, leading to self-pity. There is nobody more evil than those who pretend to be ascetics when their hearts haven't given up desire. There are people, even if they, externally, resemble the lustrous exterior of a kunri pea, have hearts like the dark nose of the pea. There are many who, like holy men, take a dip in the river, but hide the impurities of their heart. Judge a person by his deeds. The straight arrow is destructive and sharp, the bent musical bow is sweet. Shaving your head or growing long locks is unnecessary if one refrains from doing what the world disdains. If one wishes not to be ridiculed, let him protect his heart from thoughts of swindling. Even to think such thoughts is evil, thoughts of swindling others' property. Swindled wealth will seem to swell, but will breach its limits and bust. The love for swindling, when it yields indestructible distress. Love, inspired by compassion, doesn't occur to those who await others' lapses to grab their wealth. The excessive love for swindling renders a person unable to abide by the limits of reason. The clouded intelligence for defrauding is not for those who understand the limits of reason and morality. Deceit lies in the heart of the fraudulent, like righteousness, residing in the hearts of those who operate within boundaries. Those who have mastered nothing but swindling will exceed all limits and fall instantly. The fraudulent will lose their living state. Those who refrain from defrauding will not be denied the world of divine beings. Truth is defined as speaking words that cause no harm. Even a lie will be placed on par with the truth if it yields unblemished benefits. Do not lie consciously. Once you lie so, your own conscience will sear you. One who, guided by his heart, lives without lies will forever live in the hearts of all. One who tells the truth with all his heart is ahead of those who do self-discipline and charity. No other fame equals not lying. Without any physical strain, it yields all virtues. Not lying, if practiced consistently, makes it worthwhile to refrain from not doing the righteous deeds. External cleanliness is brought about by water. Inner purity is evident in truthfulness. All light is not light. For noble scholars, truthfulness is the true light of enlightenment. Of all the known truths, there is nothing more significant than truthfulness. Restrain anger where anger will be effective. Where it won't be, does it matter whether one restrains it or not? Where it can't have an impact, anger is harmful. Where it can, there is still nothing more harmful. Erase your anger against anyone. Only harm springs forth from it. Is there an enemy other than anger, which annihilates smile and joy? If you seek to protect yourself, curb your anger, lest anger destroys you. Anger, the fire known to destroy those who harbor it, will also burn down the lifeboat, namely, one's clan. One who possesses anger as a trait will perish with the unfailing precision of a hand that slams the ground. Even if taunted with a harmful deed, tantamount to toasting in a multi-tongued fire, better try not to be angered. If the heart doesn't harbor anger, one would attain instantly all that it aspires to. Those who yield to anger are as good as dead. Those who've shed anger are in effect saints. Even if it yields greatness and riches galore, refraining from harming others is the principled path of the impeccable. Not to hurt those who have caused harm before, out of wrath, is the principled path of the impeccable. To harm even those who antagonize us unprovoked will bring boundless suffering. The way to punish those who harmed us is to shame them by doing them good. What use is it to be wise if one can't treat others' troubles as one's own? Shy away from doing to others what you perceive would have harmed you. Never do a harmful deed, however small, to anyone in any circumstance, consciously or otherwise. Why does one hurt other lives? Doing what he knows can hurt oneself. If you harm others in the morning, harm will visit you by itself in the afternoon. Harm descends on those who harm others. Hence, those who wish not to be harmed do no harm. What is a righteous deed? Not killing. Killing leads to all other evil deeds. Sharing food and taking care of all lives is the most important amongst all virtues compiled in all texts. Not killing is the most important virtue. It is followed by not lying. What is a perfect path? It is the pursuit of the principle of not slaying any being. Of all those who, despising material existence, have embraced letting go, the most important are those who fear and shun killing. Death dares not trample on the life of one who abides by the principle of not killing any life. Even if one were to sacrifice one's own life, do not commit the act of taking another life. Even if great wealth leads to great benefits, great men loathe wealth obtained by sacrifice of lives. For those who can see the foolishness of it, the savage fools in any profession involving killing are doing a despicable job. Those with a rotting, sickly body and a rotten life mired in poverty must have killed other beings before. To believe that transient things will last forever is deplorable stupidity. Great wealth accumulates like a crowd assembled at a theater. When it goes, it vanishes like the crowd at the end of the play. Wealth is transient. When it comes about, use it to do a lasting righteous deed. The wise get this. Time, that manifests itself as days, is a sword that slices off life. Before your tongue goes numb and you let out your last breath, hurry to do a good deed. Who was there yesterday is gone today. The world is thus. Though they know not if they will live the next moment, they hold over 1 billion thoughts in their minds. A bird breaks away from the egg, leaving the shells alone. So is life related to body. Death is like going off to sleep. Birth is like waking up from it. Doesn't life have a permanent dwelling? Nay, it has merely taken shelter in this body. Whatever one gives up cannot cause pain. The pleasures of this world after giving up are immense. If you wish those, give up when you can. To give up all that one desires, the 5 senses should be overcome. Not to have a thing is the essence of self-discipline. Any possession lures one away from it. For those ascetics seeking relief from rebirth, their own flesh is an excess. What purpose do other affinities serve? If you can let go of the egoistic I and the materialistic mine, you will reach someplace better than paradise. Miseries will not near those who refrain from desire. Those who give up completely surge ahead. Others get enticed and end up entangled in a web. Only when all attachments are severed, the cycle of life and death is broken. Anything short of it is transient. Be attached to the one who is attached to none. Be so attached to be free of any attachments. To be deluded into accepting anything untrue as gospel truth leads to a wasted life. Darkness will give way to joy when delusion is replaced with a flawless vision. For those with conviction who have dispelled all doubts, the skies are nearer than the earth. Whatever known through the 5 senses make no sense when there is no comprehension of truth. It doesn't matter what anything seems to be. Wisdom lies in seeking to grasp its true nature. Those who have learnt and grasped the true essence here will find a path that will not bring them back here. The mind that, after careful consideration, ascertains the truth conclusively, would not contemplate rebirth. For the vanity of birth to vanish, fathom those ultimate truths of true significance. To understand what to desire, and to give up other desires, decimates the distress caused by those desires. When even words cease to exist for desire, anger, and ignorance, resultant maladies will be vanquished. Desire is the seed which, for all lives, consistently leads to an endless cycle of birth. If you desire, desire for freedom from birth. Desiring not to desire too leads to that freedom. There is no wealth here better than lack of desire. Nowhere else is there anything that equals it. Purity is absence of desire, which is obtained through the quest for truth. Only those who've given up desire have given up. The rest who've given up all else have not truly given up. Desire is a deceptive trap. Fearing it is a virtue. One can do flawless deeds the way one wants to do when desire is destroyed completely. Those who are devoid of desire are free from misery. For others, it keeps piling up. When desire, the misery of miseries, is decimated, unending joy abounds. Eternal bliss ensues when insatiable desire ends. Constructive fate causes tireless endeavor, leading to prosperity. Destructive fate causes indolence. Malign fate blunts one's intelligence. In its turn, benign fate sharpens it. Even if knowledge comes through profound books, one's innate wisdom remains dominant. The world is stratified based on two factors, wealth and wisdom, and they are not correlated. While seeking wealth, positive aspects can turn harmful, and negative aspects beneficial. Strive hard, we may, but what we don't deserve doesn't stay, and what we deserve, we can't dispose. One may amass wealth worth millions, but can consume only as ordained by the ordainer. Even those who possess nothing to enjoy will give up, if only one can escape the misery that is to be suffered. Why bemoan the misery caused by fate, when one enjoys the good without complaint? Is there anything mightier than fate? It remains dominant despite all plans devised to counter it. The Book of Wealth. The military, citizenry, resources, advisors, friends, and fortresses. Who owns these six is a lion amongst kings. Fearlessness, generosity, wisdom, and vitality. These four are persistent characteristics expected of a king. Vigilance, erudition, and boldness. These three never abandon a competent ruler, not swerving from righteousness and justice, and deterring any violations, assuming greatness and pride through benevolent courage. A ruler should do. Strategizing, earning revenues, preserving and allocating resources. A government should be capable of. The world will eulogize a ruler who is easily accessible and refrains from rude rebukes. For those who, with sweet words, are capable of giving generously and protecting their people, the world is how they wish it to be. A righteous king who renders justice and nurtures his people will be praised as an almighty leader. The leader who heeds to counsel that stings the ear will have the world rest under his scepter. Charity, love, justice, and safeguarding the people. Who has these four is the guiding light for all leaders. Learn what is to be learnt with no flaws. Once learnt, stand by what you learned. Numbers and letters. They are known as eyes to humans. They are. The learned have eyes, the ignorant have on their faces two gashes. Delight when they are met, and nostalgia when they have left, are the effects of the learned's deeds. The learned learn by lovingly humbling themselves before others, like the poor before rich. Those who thus don't learn are lowly. The deeper a well is dug, the more the water that springs. The more one learns, the more the wisdom it brings. For the learned, every nation is their nation, and every place their place. Why then does one shun learning till death? Learning acquired once will stand in good stead for 7 generations. Seeing that the world gets excited by what excites them, the learned fall more in love with learning. Learning is the indestructibly and significant wealth. Other riches are not true wealth. Speaking before an audience without reading relevant books is like rolling the dice without drawing the squares. An illiterate wishing to make a speech is like a breastless androgyne wishing to become a woman. Even the ignorant will be considered good if they shut themselves up before the learned. Though the illiterate may display streaks of intelligence, they would still not be acknowledged by the learned. The vanity of the ignorant vanishes when they start speaking in a gathering. The illiterate are seen as existing to fill space. They are like barren wastelands. A person who has no in-depth learning and intellectual acumen is as impressive as a doll made of mud. Not even the penury of the good is as harmful as the wealth that has fallen on the ignorant. The uneducated may be of higher birth, but they are not respected as much as the learned men born in low classes. Animal amongst men are those uneducated amongst the educated. The wealth of listening is the wealth amongst all wealth, the most important wealth. When food there is none for the ear, spare a little for the belly. Those who can feed orally through listening are equal in this world to the noble beings devouring divine food. Even if you can't learn by reading, listen. It is the crutch in times of crisis. A steadying staff on a skiddy surface are the words of those who possess utmost proper behavior. Listen to the good, doesn't matter how much. Whatever be the quantum, immense greatness it will bring. Misconstrue they may, but ludicrous words they will not utter. Those who have always listened, analyzed, and learnt. Hear they can, but deaf they are. The ears that are not pierced by oral learning. Unless one is an intense, attentive oral learner, it is unlikely that one will have a humble tongue. Those beings who know the taste only of the tongue and not of the ear, does it matter whether die or live? Wisdom is the shield against suffering, and the fortress, impregnable and indestructible for the foes. Without letting the mind to wander on its own will, wisdom steers it away from harm and towards good. Whatever whoever may say, listen to it, and wisdom is to comprehend the true meaning of it. Wisdom lies in keeping it simple for your audience and grasping all intricacies when others speak. Wisdom, it is to embrace the world and not to be overtly delighted or dismayed. What the world conforms to, wisdom lies in conforming to those. The wise anticipate the outcomes. Unwise are those who can't. It is foolish not to fear what ought to be feared. The wise fear those that must be feared. The wise who are perceptive and are prepared will not be staggered by any harm. The wise have everything, the unwise have nothing, irrespective of whatever they may possess. Those who lack arrogance, wrath, and pettiness, wealth in their hands assumes dignity. Avarice, ignominious pride, and repulsive gloating are fatal flaws in a leader. For those who fear disgrace, their faults, though grain-sized, would seem gigantic. Fend off your own flaws. Those flaws are your fatal foes. Having no safeguards before the onset of trouble will make our lives dry straws before a raging fire. What flaw could fall upon a leader who rectifies his faults before observing and assailing others' faults? The wealth of one who, out of pettiness, doesn't do what ought to done will vanish without growth. Clinging to wealth out of avarice is worse than any other flaw. Never give in to egotism. Never indulge in vain acts that benefit none. Those who enjoy what they enjoy, unknown to foes, are difficult to defeat. Assess, know the potential, and secure the company of virtuous, veteran, wise men. Nurture the relationship of those who relieve and ward off your miseries. It is most precious to nurture and possess the company of great men. The mightiest of all strengths is to patronize and pay heed to those who are better than us. A ruler rules best with wise counselors as eyes. Select them after watchful scrutiny. When a capable leader feels at ease with capable associates, there is nothing his foes can do to harm him. One who leads companions who can admonish him, who is capable of harming him. A ruler unprotected by companions who can admonish him will face ruin without any foes ruining him. There is no return without investment. For leaders, there is no stability without the prop of their supporters. Tenfold worse it is to lose the company of the good than to earn the hostility of many foes. The great fear petty company. The petty perceive and accept them as their own. Water assumes the quality of the land. Wisdom depends on the company one keeps. Senses are governed by the brain. Reputation is determined by one's company. Wisdom seems to stem from the mind, but is shaped by people around us. Purity of mind and deeds depends on the quality of one's associations. Those who are pure at heart will leave behind good children and legacy. Those who have clean company will find no good task impossible. The goodness of heart is a treasure for humans. Goodness of company leads to greatness. Even for noble scholars who are good at heart, good company offers strong protection. Goodness of heart leads to joy even after death. Good company protects it from straying. There is no better ally than good company. No trouble can be worse than bad company. What gets consumed, what gets created, and the returns the creation yields. Consider all before starting a task. Nothing is impossible for those who start a task with aptly chosen associates and after thorough assessment. Losing the capital in pursuit of profit is not a task the wise will undertake. Without assessing and getting clarity, will they not start, they who fear for their reputation. Leaping before you look is like planting foes and nurturing them. To do what ought not to be done is disastrous. Not to do what ought to be done is equally so. Think before you start. To think that you can think after starting spells doom. Hard work, the wrong way, will be futile even if the world applauds. Well-intended actions could go awry if they are not customized to suit the nature of all those involved. The world doesn't accept what it can't approve. Assess and act such that you are not ridiculed. Assess before an action the strengths of the task, self, opponents, and companions. Know what is achievable, gain requisite knowledge, and stay focused. Nothing is impossible. Many have broken down midway, having started with fervor without assessing their capabilities. He is uncollaborative. He knows not his capabilities. He is narcissistic to boot. He is set for a swift fall. A cart, though laden with only peacock feathers, may yet have its axle broken when overloaded. Having climbed to the tip of a branch, striving to go further, will be fatal. Do charity, but within your means. That is the way to utilize and protect wealth. Though revenues are limited, no harm if you don't let expenses exceed them. A life lived beyond one's means will look glitzy but will lose its sheen and give way to gloom. Generosity beyond the limits of one's resources is bound to cease soon after exhausting the resources. A crow will defeat an owl during the day. A king needs to pick the right time to defeat his foes. Doing the right things at the right time is the rope which binds the wealth, making it boundless. Does an impossible task exist when the right resources and strategy are deployed at the right time? Desire the world you may, and it will be yours, if, for your actions, you choose the right time and place. They will await the opportune moment, they who determinedly desire the world. The ardent and the mighty, too, can stay subdued like a rampant ram that withdraws before it pounces. The wise will not break into an external rage instantly. They will keep their anger suppressed, biding their time. Bear with your foes. When the time is ripe, turn things around. When the rarest of moments comes about, grab it to accomplish the toughest of tasks. Like a heron, be still when the time is not ripe, and spear the prey when it is near. Start not a task, thinking it is easy, until you choose the right place to accomplish it. Even for the mighty, seeking to conquer, a fortress offers benefits galore. Even the weak will battle and win when they tenaciously take on their foes at the right place. Their dismissive opponents will lose the plot when those who undertake a task do it right at the right place. In deep waters, the crocodile wins. When it gets out, it is vanquished. Neither will the strongest chariots sail the seas, nor will the seafaring ships ride the land. If, after considering all angles, one chooses to do a task at an apt place, he needs no company other than fearlessness. If a king with a measly army battles from a strategic location, the confidence of the mighty foe gets shattered. Even if the foes are devoid of fortresses and exceptional valor, it is tough to beat them on their turf. An uncontrollable tusker that has gored many a spearman, when stuck in a deep quagmire, is easy prey for a fox. Assess the attitude of a person on these four aspects before choosing him: righteousness, money, lust, and fear for life. Accept only a person who is of good birth, is clear of flaws, has fear for disgrace and shame. Even a person who is known to be learned and faultless, if assessed well, will rarely be free of flaws and ignorance. Weigh the virtues and vices, discern which is more, and thus decide. The touchstone for greatness or unworthiness is one's own deeds. Choose not those who are unrighteous. With nothing to bind them, they won't dread disgrace. Out of affection, choosing without properly assessing will result in foolishness. One who accepts without assessing will invite harm that will last for generations. Choose not anyone without assessment. Once chosen, trust the person to deliver on the assigned tasks. Selecting without assessing and doubting after selecting will ensure enduring distress. A person who assesses pros and cons and has done well will be entrusted with key responsibilities. Let him do that task. He, who has multiplied the sources of income, generated revenues, and analyzed and overcome hurdles, love, wisdom, fearless analytical mind, and lack of misdirected desire, go for a person who scores high on these. In whatever way we may have assessed and chosen people, they stand out based on quality of execution. Assign the task to those who know it, can plan, execute, and get it done, and not to the most prominent or likable person. Assign a task after assessing the person, the task, and the most suited time. This task he can do using these resources. Once you reason it out thus, leave the task to him. Assess and determine that he can do this task using these resources and empower him to do the task. Wealth will desert the leader who doubts the intimacy of the expert doing a task on account of the task. The ruler should review progress regularly. As long as his officials don't falter, his state won't falter. Even when all wealth is lost, it is the kin who will maintain their ties. If one gets kin who never lose their love, wealth never ceases sprouting in different ways. The life of one with no intimate relationship is like water flowing into a pond with no bounds. To live surrounded by the kin is the benefit gained by gaining wealth. One who practices generosity and kind words will be encircled by an extended family. He gives generously and is free of anger. None on this earth can have better kin than him. The crow never conceals food, but cries out for company. Wealth and progress, too, stays only with those of such quality. A king who avoids an undifferentiated approach, but tailors it to suit differing capabilities, will retain many who will appreciate it. Well-wishers who had broken with you before will return if the cause for resentment is rectified. When defectors return for any reason, the ruler should be open to accept them after due assessment. Getting slack and smug when having a joyous moment is more harmful than excessive anger. Complacence, sloth, and contempt slaughter one's reputation just as begging and gorging will kill one's wisdom. There is no fame for those who are smug, lax, or derisive. Scholars of all walks and beliefs concur on this. No fortress is good enough for those who fear. No good can occur to those who are smug, slack, or derisive. One who is complacent and derisive and doesn't anticipate the repercussions will resent his lapses later. Never be complacent about any task or deride anyone. Nothing is better than following this unswervingly. The impossible doesn't exist when you do the task diligently, with an alert, incomplacent mind. Do diligently deeds that have been extolled. Not in 7 births will they benefit. Those who derisively avoid those deeds, think of those who were doomed due to derision and negligence when you bask smugly in the greatness of your might. Easy it is to get what you seek if you're focused on that you seek. Investigating intensely, leading fairly without unduly favoring anyone, analyzing and acting constitute justice. The world survives. looking up to the skies for rain. The people live, looking up to their ruler's scepter for justice. The texts that scholars write and the virtues they extol have their roots in the scepter of the ruler. The world will embrace the feet of the ruler who embraces his people and renders justice. In the state of the king who rules justly, as befits a king, even monsoons and harvests will happen consistently. It is not the spear that gives victory. It is the king's scepter, the one that never tilts unjustly. A king protects all the world. He is protected by the justice that he dispenses resolutely. A king who isn't readily accessible and doesn't rule justly will be ruined by his own lowly deeds. To punish a crime in order to protect and nurture one's subjects is not a blot on the king, but his duty. The king punishing severely those brutal murderers is akin to clearing weeds from the crop. He is worse than assassins, the ruler who harries his citizens and indulges in unjust acts. The extortion and graft done wielding the scepter is no different from robbery done pointing a spear. The ruler who doesn't assess and administer justly, day after day, will let his state rot day by day. The king who lets his scepter tilt towards tyranny will lose all his wealth, people, and state. The tears shed by citizens subjected to intolerable grief are the weapons that erode the ruler's wealth. Just rule yields lasting fame to a ruler. No justice, no fame. Just as lack of rain is to the world, so is to mankind rulers' lack of benevolence. Being wealthy is worse than being poor under an unjust ruler. If the king lets his scepter of justice waver, the skies won't yield and monsoons will fail. The cow's milk will dry up. The Brahmins will forget the texts when the king stops being their savior. Investigating neutrally and punishing appropriately so as to deter the repeat of a crime is the duty of the king. Raise the scepter swift and stern, but land it softly, those who wish never to lose what they possess. A king will be isolated and will face rapid ruin if he becomes a tyrant indulging in terrifying deeds. My king, he is a tyrant. Such a denouncement is certain to hasten a king's downfall. Inaccessible and has a harsh countenance, his huge wealth resembles a treasure protected by demons. If he is of harsh words and has no compassion, his extensive wealth will become extinct soon. Harsh words and excessive punishments form the saw that files away the king's military might. When the king doesn't take counsel of his advisors and tends to explode with rage, his wealth starts imploding. When the foes strike, a king who has not built his defenses will fall swiftly, trembling with fear. A tyrant will assemble an ensemble of the unlearned, but for them there is no burden for the earth. There exists this stupendous beauty called compassion, and therefore the world exists. It is compassion that keeps the world functioning as it should. There are those who lack it, and they burden the earth. Of what use is a tune that can't suit any song? Of what use are eyes which have no compassion? An eye that is not abound with compassion, what purpose is it serving on the face, faking existence? Eyes are adorned by compassion, but for it they would be considered wounds. Trees rooted to the land they resemble, those, though born with eyes, don't use them to be compassionate. Those who lack compassion have no eyes. Who truly have eyes can't lack compassion. The world belongs to those who do their duty unfalteringly while being compassionate. Being compassionate and patient, even with those who hurt us, is a quality most admirable. Even after seeing poison being poured, they will consume it and converse cordially, they who seek to be captivatingly civilized and compassionate. Intelligence operations and highly regarded books. A king should consider them his eyes. Knowing everything that happens to everyone, to always gain such intelligence at great speed is the duty of a king. There is no better way to victory for a king than deploying spies on surveillance and gathering credible intelligence. Having everyone, officials, kin, and foes, under surveillance is the job of a spy. A spy should be capable of inconspicuous appearance, fearlessly looking into others' eyes and never disclosing critical facts. A spy should be able to go incognito as an ascetic and others, infiltrate all places, and tirelessly gather intelligence by any means. A spy should be capable of extracting top secrets nonchalantly and verifying their veracity beyond doubt. Ascertain even the intelligence gathered by a spy by deploying another spy. Lead the sleuths such that they don't know each other. When 3 of them concur on an input, you know it is reliable. When you honor a spy, do it not in public, else you would broadcast your own secret. The haves are haves if they have zeal. If they have it not, they are have-nots, whatever else they may have. Possessing passion is the true possession. All other wealth is transient and will vanish. They will not bemoan the loss of wealth, they who have enduring zeal. Wealth, on its own, will find the way to reach those with unflagging fervor. The depth of water determines how tall an aquatic plant grows. Zeal in the heart dictates how far man goes. Fervently aspire for the best. Even if you fail, it is still as good as succeeding. The zealous won't flinch in the face of trouble. The elephant, even if buried under a barrage of arrows, never relents. Those without zeal will never attain the pride of being praised as generous. It is huge. It has sharp tusks. Yet the tusker is frightened when the tiger attacks. Abundant zeal is one's strength and wisdom. Those without it are trees, their human form being the only difference. The inextinguishable flame of distinguished ancestry will be put out if the filth of sloth starts blocking it. Kill laziness if you wish your clan to become a reputation clan. The fool who lives clutching the fatal indolence will see his family's demise before his own. A ruler who falls into the lap of laziness and doesn't strive hard will witness the destruction of his subjects and an upsurge in crime. Procrastination, neglect, sloth, and slumber. These 4 are the ship that is boarded lovingly by habitual losers. It is unlikely that the lazy will prosper, even if they inherit the riches of an emperor. Well-meaning rebukes will be followed by ridicule if one is indolent and refrains from striving hard. If laziness rests on a state and its rulers, it will be enslaved by its foes. The ills that befell his state and leadership will vanish if one gives up his indolence. The ruler who has no sloth will attain all that was attained by the one who measured the world with his feet. Shun not a task because it is tough. Perseverance brings respect. The world deserts those who desert an essential task. While executing, don't wilt and let the task fail. The greatness of benevolence rests on those who have the quality of perseverance. Benevolence of the person without persistence will turn futile like a sword in the hands of a coward. Forsaking gratification, he who perseveres is a pillar for one's kin, wiping and bearing their troubles. Effort creates wealth, lack of it induces poverty. Thus they speak. The angel of poverty resides with the sluggard. The lotus-residing angel of wealth rests on the efforts of the unsluggish. Lack of good fortune brings not disgrace. Not gaining requisite knowledge and not persisting is disgraceful. Even if God has given up, perseverance will pay the wages for one's efforts. They will triumph over fate. They who persevere resolutely without relief smile in times of trouble. It is without equal in repeatedly trouncing trouble. Floods of tribulation will be wiped away when the wise set their minds on overcoming it. They will torment the torment, those who don't get tormented by torment. Whenever stuck in a mire, if one chugs along like a bull, trouble will be distressed. Even under an onslaught of adversities, if one is unfazed, his torments will be tormented. Will they be distressed by poverty? Those who, in times of wealth, Don't stingily cling to their wealth. Knowing that the human body is ever a target for sufferings, the wise will not be distressed by distress. He who yearns not for pleasures, dismisses adversities as inevitable, will never be distressed. He who yearns not for pleasure in joyous times will not be distressed in times of sorrow. If one accepts adversities as pleasures, his adversaries too will acclaim him. A minister is one who can envisage rare deeds, the resources and time entailed, and the means to execute. Resolve, protecting the citizens, learning and perseverance. A minister is one who is capable in these too. A minister is adept at these, splitting the foes, binding the allies, and uniting the estranged. A minister should be proficient in assessing, executing, and articulating unequivocally. A minister knows righteousness. He can enunciate knowledgeably. He is always skillful at execution. He is an apt counselor. For one who has an impressive intellect and is well read, is there any task that can be extremely challenging? Even if you know well how to do a task, do it knowing the nature of your world. Even when the king stubs out the wise counsel and knows not by himself, it is the duty of the minister to advise firmly. It is better to face 700 million foes than have a scheming minister. They plan meticulously but yet can't take it to completion, those who are poor at execution. The benefits of a gifted tongue outclass the benefits of anything else. It creates and destructs. Hence ensure there is never a blemish in your speech. Speak with such quality that it binds those who queried and casts a spell on even those who didn't. Speak words that befit your capabilities and those of the listener. There is no greater virtue and wealth than that. Say a word such that no other word can surpass that word. Speaking alluring words and seeking to learn when others speak is the way of those with impeccable qualities. If he speaks capably, flawlessly, and fearlessly, it is impossible to face and defeat him. The world will instantly pay heed to those who can speak coherently and pleasingly. Those who know not how to converse clearly and flawlessly in a few words love to speak profusely. Those who cannot convey and make others comprehend what they have learnt are like a bunch of bloomed flowers that have no fragrance. Good companions lead to valuable gains, and good deeds lead to everything needed. They should be refrained from forever. Deeds not leading to the good and yielding fame. They who seek greater heights should shun deeds that dent their reputation. Even in distress, they won't do deplorable deeds, those with unfaltering clarity and vision. What have I done? Do not do deeds leading to such regret. Even if you do not ever repeat them. Even when you see your mother starving, don't do deeds deplored by those noble and respected. Far better than ill-gotten wealth is the extreme poverty fallen on the noble and exemplary. Though successful, they yield nothing but pain when deplorable deeds are done rather than being shunned. What is acquired with others' tears goes away with your tears. Good deeds, even if begun with losses, will yield fruits later on. Being content with ill-gotten wealth is like storing water in a fresh, unbaked mud pot. Execution focus lies in the resolve of the mind. All else is secondary. Doing flawlessly and resolute in the event of a flaw are the paths shown by the learned. Virility lies in taking a task to completion. Giving up midway causes endless misery. Easy it is to say. Rare it is, the ability to do what one says. Those who have gained great acclaim for their execution resolve, bring good to their rulers, and are hence thought of highly. What they seek, they will achieve as they seek, if those who seek are made of firm resolve. Deride not a person seeing their appearance. There are those who are like a small linchpin that make a large chariot roll. 667. Do the task that you conceived with clarity of thought, unwaveringly and without procrastination. even if it causes distress while doing, daringly do the task that brings joy. Whatever ability they may have acquired, the world desires them not, when they desire not the resoluteness to execute. The end of strategizing is gaining the confidence to execute. It is wasteful to seed that confidence in delays. Delay those tasks that better be delayed. Delay not those tasks that cannot be delayed. Execute as planned whenever possible. When not possible, do whatever is needed to resume action. The remnants of a task and an enmity left unfinished when we think of it can harm as much as the remains of a fire. Resources, tools, time, place, and the task. Analyze these beyond doubt, and then act. The means to the end, the obstacles and the fruits of the deed. Anticipate all these, and then act. One who is excellent at execution executes after grasping the subtleties of all tasks from the experts. Using one task to accomplish another task is like tethering a mussed elephant using another. More pressing than doing favors to friends is befriending foes. The smaller state, fearing internal panic, will submit to a superior power if their concerns are addressed. Love, birth in a suitable family, affable nature, attractive to any king, are qualities of an emissary. Love, wisdom, and sagacious speech are three qualities essential for an envoy. An emissary on a mission, seeking a diplomatic win over other rulers, should be learned enough to excel amongst the learned. Wisdom, physical presence, and thorough learning. He who has these three in abundance, let him be the one to go on a diplomatic mission. Being coherent, avoiding objectionable words, and evoking smiles are the ways of an envoy to get desired results. A good envoy is well learned, can look anyone in the eye, has compelling speech, and comes up with timely strategies. Most important among envoys is one who knows the task, weighs the time and place, and speaks with sagacity. Principled, endearing, and courageous. These three are qualities of an envoy conveying a message truthfully. An emissary conveying his ruler's message to another should be firm enough never to denigrate him even by slip of tongue. Even if it means meeting his own end, an emissary ought to further his leader's ends. Not too far, not too near, while being with an irritable ruler, resemble those warming before a fire. Desiring not the objects of desire for the king gives lasting riches through the king. If you deem it imperative, maintain impeccable dignity. It may be tough to placate anyone once they turn bitter. Whisper not in others' ears, nor giggle with them in the presence of dignified elders. Don't eavesdrop on or badger about any confidential matter. Hear it only when it is revealed. Gauge the mood, await the ripe time, avoid what he abhors, and speak what is essential, such that it charms him. Tell him what will enthrall him, but indulge not in useless small talk, even if he desires so. Scorn him not because he is younger or is related. Respect him for his position and reputation. Those with a clarity of purpose will refrain from acting repulsively, thinking they command respect. Taking advantage of proximity to the top and acting out of character brings ruin. He who reads minds by observing, with no words spoken, is ever an adornment for the world with unchanging oceans. Rate him amongst gods, he who can read minds with undoubtable certainty. Those who can read minds based on gestures or expressions, if need be, give any of your organs to have them with you. Who can sense thoughts without being told they are distinct, resembling others only in their human forms? If one can't observe and interpret body language, what purpose do eyes serve amongst the organs? The face, like a crystal that shows the hues of objects around, betrays the mood of the mind. What can be smarter than the face? It is quick to sense and show if the heart is pleased or peeved. When those who can look into your heart and know your intentions be with you, Tasks will be accomplished if you just face them. The eyes will convey the animosity or affinity to those who can decipher the subtleties of the eyes. The scale used by the astute to gauge the emotions, if you think of it, is nothing but the eyes. Those who are well versed with the various ways of speech know and assess the audience before speaking. Before speaking, anticipate the reaction of the audience and master the subject, if you are conversant with the modes of expression. Those who know not their audience and yet endeavor to speak know not the styles of speech and their reach, nor can they be competent. Be brilliant before the bright, and amidst the ignorant turn, blank as a wall plastered white. It is the best among all the good deeds to have the restraint to not speak out of turn in a forum of learned elders. It will tantamount to swerving from the righteous path, being disgraced before an audience, widely read but highly receptive. The expertise of the learned gets enhanced by addressing an audience capable of flawlessly grasping those words. To speak before an audience who possess clear understanding is like watering a sapling, growing by itself in a nursery. Those who can speak lucidly in a learned forum should refrain from even forgetfully speaking the same in an unworthy forum. Speaking before an audience who are no match for you is like throwing away the elixir of life into the drains. Those who are well versed with the various ways of speech will choose the right style for a forum and won't blunder out of fear. They are known the most learned amongst the learned, those who can express their learnings persuasively before a learned audience. Simple people, ready to die at the war front, abound. Those who fearlessly address an audience are a rare breed. Speak persuasively before the learned what you have learnt, and absorb more from those who are more learned than you. Choose the right works and learn, knowing the limitations, so that you can debate fearlessly with any audience. What use is the sword to cowards? Of what use are books to those who fear a learned audience? A sharp sword in the hands of a coward before foes is the scholarship of him who fears a forum. They may be of great learning, but can serve no purpose if they shy away from speaking compellingly to a good audience. Though well learned, they're considered worse than the ignorant, those who fear an assembly of good people. Out of stage fright, those who can't articulate their learnings well may be alive, but are as good as lifeless. Unfailing crops, exemplary people, and the wealthy with untarnished and undiminishing wealth constitute a country. Desirable due to its huge wealth, devoid of detriments for high yields, such should a country be. In an ideal country, its citizens bear any new burdens which all at once afflict them, and continue to willingly pay taxes. Acute hunger, debilitating diseases, and warring foes are absent in a good state. Multiple factions, destructive dissent, and murderous criminals who torment the rulers are not found in a good state. It faces no calamities. Even if it does, its resources are undiminished. Such a nation is the most important amongst nations. Lakes above and wells below, mountains well located, rivers and streams flowing from them, and strong fortresses constitute a country. Health, wealth, high yields, happiness, and strong defense, these five adorn a state. A good state is one which yields without toil. It is not one if one has to toil hard to produce yields. A state might have everything, but they are of no use if it doesn't have the right ruler. A fortress is critical for those on the offensive, so is it for those on the defensive to protect themselves. Pearl-like perennial water, sand, mountains, and shaded woods, a strong fortress contains all these. Tall, vast, impregnable, and unapproachable, experts prescribe these four measures for forts. Boundaries, vulnerable and needing protection, are minimal, but area enclosed is vast. Such a fortress destroys the confidence of advancing foes. A good fortress is unassailable, contains sufficient food, and makes life easy for the residents. A strong fortress contains all required resources and valiant warriors who will support during a siege. Neither siege, nor an all-out attack, nor sowing descent will befell a strong fortress. A strong fortress aids those devoted to stay and defend it, to defeat the formidable foes who have besieged it. A fortress attains greatness through the greatness attained by its residents, who, through their daring deeds, swiftly subdue the foes on the war front. However formidable it may be, a fortress is futile for those not formidable in their deeds. Wealth makes them, who were deemed worthless, worthy. If not, it is not wealth. The poor are ridiculed by all, and the rich esteemed by all. The unfailing lamp called wealth will dislodge darkness by throwing light anywhere it wants to. It yields righteousness and joy, the wealth acquired capably without causing any harm. Consider it unworthy of acquiring, wealth that is not generated with compassion and love. Funds generated in the normal course, internal taxes and acquisitions from enemies are sources of wealth for the king. The infant called compassion, birthed by love, is nurtured by the rich custodian called wealth. Doing a deed with some wealth on hand is like climbing a hilltop and watching tuskers tussle. Make money. There is no weapon sharper than it to sever the pride of your foes. For those who have made abundant wealth through fair means, the remaining two, righteousness and love, are easy to achieve. A well-structured, indomitable military, never daunted by dire prospects, is primary amongst all possessions of the king. The undaunted valor in dire situations, with no fear of consequences, is rarely seen outside of a seasoned army. What if a rival army of rats comes roaring like an ocean? They will dissipate when the snake hisses. A real army is one that displays the innate valor of never getting vanquished by any disaster. An army is one which has the courage to battle united, even if the Lord of Death descends on them. Courage, pride, striding the honorable course, clarity, these four best fortify an army. The army that can discern the tactics of its advancing foes will stride over the dust the foes bite. An army, though bereft of the skills and resources to wage a war, will still gain renown for its discipline and preparation. Pettiness, unabated fury and hatred, and poverty, an army not having these will win. An army may have brave warriors in abundance, but will meet its end if there are no great leaders. O foes, stand not facing my leader. Many have done so, and now stand as memorial stones. Better to bear the spear that missed the elephant than the arrow that got the rabbit. Great manliness lies in bellicose valor. Grace towards ailing foes adds steel to it. He spent his spear slaying an elephant, but breaks into a smile, plucking out the spear that pierces him. Doesn't it equal defeat, blinking the eyes when a spear is thrown at him, the eyes that are staring the foe down? Count those as wasted days, the days when you didn't earn a wound in a battle. The anklets of courage become ornate when they adorn those who spurn their lives seeking lasting fame. When a battle begins, the warriors who war without fear for life do not let their vigor reduce, even when the king restrains them. When he is ready to embrace death to fulfill his vow, who can taunt him for failure? If one overwhelms his patron with tears while dying for him, death deserves to be beseeched. What is better than making friends? What better protection can there be for accomplishing a task? Amongst the wise, camaraderie waxes like the crescent, and amongst fools, wanes like the full moon. The nuances of a book are enjoyed more, the deeper one reads it. The more you nurture a friendship, the more the joy. A friendship is not merely to have fun, it is also to admonish when a friend errs. Friendship is forged on shared feelings. Physical proximity or long association is inconsequential. A smile on the face does not make a friendship. A smile in the depths of the heart does. rescuing from ruin, steering along the right path, and when in distress, sharing it, is friendship. Like the hand that moves reflexively to grab a garment that slips, a friend reacts swiftly to remove a trouble. Crowning greatness for friendship is when a friend supports unflinchingly in all ways. He is so dear to me, I mean so much to him, to even utter this takes the luster off friendship. Nothing can be more harmful than accepting a friend without assessing. After accepting, there is no letting go of them. Assess and assess before taking a friend, else the ensuing anguish will be fatal. Know one's traits, roots, faults, and flawless kinship, and then forge a friendship. Of high birth and fears disgrace, give whatever and gain the friendship. When you err, they may chide you till you cry and show you the right way. Assess and accept their friendship. There is a gain in grief. It is a tool to stretch and gauge a friend. It is a gain to lose the friendship of a fool. Think not of trifles that stifle your fervor. Take not the friendship of those who desert in distress. A friend who abandons in times of adversity will torment the heart even at death's door. Seek friendship with the impeccable. Give anything to sever ties with unbefitting allies. When a friend takes the liberty to do anything, and you never block it, that is called rapport. Taking the liberty is a part of friendship. To oblige and salt, it is the duty of the noble. What purpose does intimate friendship serve when one can't indulge a friend who uses his rights to do something unsolicited? Without asking, when a friend acts, presuming assent, one accepts it as if they desired it. Discern it not merely as ignorance, but as a sign of intimacy, when a friend does an undesired act that hurts. A friend who has stood by you at all times, even when he causes harm. Those who know the expanse of friendship will never let go. In friendships built on love, no love is lessened even when one does a destructive deed. For one who brooks no charges against an intimate friend, the day is made when the friend errs. Friends with resolute rapport will never let it rupture even if the world wills it. One who by nature never breaks with intimate friends shall be loved even by those who loathe them. Their gaze may seem to guzzle you lovingly, but let the ties with characterless friends wane, then flourish. Ill-suited mates who are intimate if they benefit and distant if they don't. Does it matter if we gain them or lose them? Friends who only gauge what they gain, whores who embrace only what they are paid, and thieves are all the same. Better be lonely than have the company of those who are like untrained horses that can't bear you on the battlefield. Regardless of what you do, petty people who can't protect you, it is better not to gain their vain friendship. Million times worthwhile it is to be foes with the wise than be bosom friends with the foolish. Billion times rewarding it is to have adversaries than friends who engage only in ridicule. If a friend keeps shirking from doing what they are capable of, make no fuss and let the ties wither away. Bonds with those whose words and deeds differ, alas, causes mayhem even in dreams. Cozy in private and derisive in public, allow not a hint of a link with such a person. Fair-weather friendship based on opportunism than feelings is like an anvil to take the blow when the tool has to strike. Friendship with those who profess amity but lack it will oscillate like the heart of a woman. They may have learnt from many a good book, but the ungracious shall never turn good-natured. The schemers with a sweet smile on the face, but devious at heart, ought to be feared. When the hearts don't converge, never conclude based on their words to embark on any task. Though, like friends, they speak of what is right, words of foes will be exposed right away. The bow bends not to greet, but to hurt. Likewise, the greeting of your enemy signifies no bonhomie. Hands folded in reverence may conceal a weapon, so do the tears of your foes. Exuding affection externally, but harboring derision inside. Humor such people, but let their friendship fade away. If there comes a time for camaraderie with your adversaries, sport it on the face, but keep it out of your heart. Naivete can be defined as embracing all that is detrimental and relinquishing all that is rewarding. The height of naivete is to fall in love with what can never be one's own. Lack of remorse, having no mission, being devoid of compassion, inability to cherish anything, are traits of the witless. There is no greater dolt than one who has learnt the essential texts, grasped their essence and expounds them to others, but does not abide by them. The deeds of a dimwit in one life is enough to doom him in hell for 7 lifetimes. If an injudicious idiot takes up a task, it is not only destined to fail, but will also land him up in fetters. When great wealth falls on a fool, strangers shall feast while the kith and kin starve. When an idiot ends up possessing something, it resembles someone already in a groggy state getting drunk. Friendship with dimwits is terribly sweet. There is no grief when they part. A fool mingling with the learned and noble is like placing unwashed, dirty feet on a clean bed. Lack of wisdom is the worst that one can lack. Whatever else they lack, the world cares not. If ever the unwise give wholeheartedly, it is nothing but the result of the receiver's self-discipline. The injury that the unintelligent can inflict on themselves, not even their enemies can fare better. What is simple-mindedness but the vain presumption of one's own intelligence? Brazenly acting out what one has not learnt arouses doubts over that they've flawlessly mastered. It is simple-minded to cover one's private parts when there is no way to mask their flaws. When a precious teaching is imparted to a simpleton, by not grasping it, they self-inflict immense harm. He neither obeys others nor reasons out himself. He is an ailment till he is alive. He who shows him who can't see, himself can't see. He who can't see sees only what he sees. What the wise of the world says exists, he denies. He shall be deemed a ghost in this world. The concomitant ills of the uncultured trait of being at divergence with all beings is termed as discord. On account of differences, if one offends us, it is important to disregard the discord and do no harm. If the distressing disease of discord is discarded, it yields flawless fame that never fades. Discord is the misery of all miseries. When it goes, the joy of all joys ensues. Those who can act against their discords, who has the capacity to consider overcoming them? The life of one who enjoys a spate of discords has in its proximity suffering and demise. They shall never see the transcendent truth, those devious minds teeming with discord. Siding against one's own discord is valuable. Allowing it to accumulate invites injury. When there is benefit, the discord goes unnoticed. When it is detrimental, it seems stark. All troubles emanate from discord. The great wealth, good deeds, and joy for all stems from friendly smiles. Avoid hostility with the strong. Unleash your enmity on the weak, failing to do so. Loveless, lacks right companions, and on his own has no strengths. How shall the might of his foes fail? Timid, ignorant, unsettled, and ungenerous, he is easy prey to his foes. Never ceases to be angry, ever insatiate. Anytime, anywhere, he is easy prey for anyone. Doesn't look up the right means, seizes not his opportunities, fears no ignominy, and lacks character. His foes enjoy him. Has unheard of and unseeing anger, and is prodigiously lustful. Enmity with him will be seized with glee. He is adept at harming his own endeavors. Give anything to gain his enmity. Cut off of good qualities, filled with flaws, free of allies, he is the best safeguard for his foes. Blissful joy never ends for aggressors who gain as foes the foolish and fearful. Ignorant, irritable, and disinclined to earn a trifle, fame never favors him. Enmity is an oddity that is best left undesired even in jest. You may gain the enmity of the plowman wielding a bow as plow, but not that of the one wielding the word. One who, alone, antagonizes many, has a dimmer wit than a loony. The one with the virtue of turning a foe into a friend. The world shall rest under the sway of his virtuosity. If one has no allies but two foes, better befriend one of them. Whether you've qualified someone as a foe or not, in troubled times, it is better not to get cozy nor split. Express not your pain to those who can't empathize. Expose not your frailties to your foes. Knowing oneself and one's foes and preparing oneself is the self-defense that surely shall quell the vanity of the enemy. Weed out a thorn tree when it is still slender. Once fully grown, it'll slash the hands of the weeder. One who can't crush the conceit of the enemy will be vanquished the moment they hiss. Even shade and water, when noxious, can be baneful. Kith and kin, when malicious, can be harmful. Fear not foes, overt like swords, but those faking as friends. Fear the ties with them. Fear internal strife and protect yourself. During trouble, like a tool that cuts wet clay, it will hurt without fail. When internal strife that disconcerts minds appears, it gives rise to flaws that unsettle the kith. If internal conflicts surface amongst the kin, many a destructive flaw is aroused. If disharmony crops up among those who are at one with each other, infallibility is impossible to achieve. Though it appears well-joint like a copper vessel, a house ridden with internal strifes shall never gel. Like a metal abraded by a file, the might of a clan is eroded by enemies within. It may be tiny as a split sesame, but disaster resides in internal strife. Life with those whose hearts are not in harmony is like staying in a hut with a snake for company. For those keen on self-preservation, the prominent concern is not to belittle the capabilities of the capable. If we rankle those worthy of veneration, they can cause unceasing tribulation. If you are keen on self-destruction, act with disregard and denigrate those who can destroy at will. The incapable venturing to harm the capable is like waving a welcome to the deity of death. Wherever one flees, and forever, there can be no relief after enraging a ruler with fiery might. One may survive being fried in a fire, but not after offending the venerable. Of what use are a life good in all aspects and immense wealth if one infuriates men of outstanding greatness and prowess? They who seem tenacious with their clans shall perish from this world, if august men, great as a mountain, are slighted. An emperor one may be, but he shall be derailed and his reign wrecked if persons with lofty ideals are incensed. One may have the best of allies, but cannot survive the wrath of those with the best of qualities. One who forever acts out of fervor for his wife never attains anything worthy. This is the trait that those who focus on execution shun. Without preserving the good, driven by the desire for the woman, the wealth made thus is a greatly disconcerting disgrace. Stooping to go against the grain by submitting to the wife's will always embarrasses good men. There is no salvation for one who fears his wife. Never can he achieve fame nor mastery over execution. One who fears his wife will forever fear doing good to the good folk. One may live amongst the celestial beings, but has no standing, if he fears the drooping of the shapely shoulders of his wife. The demure woman deserves more acclaim than the manliness that dances to the woman's tune. One who caters to the whims of her with elegant brows shall never do any good nor resolve any of his friends' troubles. Virtuous deeds, valuable possession, and various pursuits are beyond those who do what the wife bids. Cultured hearts with precious thoughts allow not the foolishness of appeasing their consorts. Bedecked with bracelets, she seeks him not for love but money. Her saccharine words are charged with disgrace. Discern and spurn pretentious women who schemingly gloat. The fake cuddling of women coveting money is like hugging an unknown corpse in a dark room. The wise who seek the way of compassion are not swayed by trivial pleasures of covetous women. Wise men renowned for their sagacity shun the trite frolics of women who profess love for all. Those who care for themselves care not for the shoulders of those who offer exaggerated banal joys. Those with discontented hearts embrace the shoulders of those who make love with devious thoughts in their hearts. Those who cannot reason wisely see a divine enchantress in a dubious woman's embrace. Soft shoulders of loose women, decked with jewels, is the hell where imprudent louts dwell. Deceitful women, drink and dice are friends of those carelessly dumping their wealth. They shall not be respected nor feared, and they shall lose their greatness, they who are in love with alcohol. Consume not alcohol. Consume, if you will, those who care not to be held highly by the noble. Drunken revelry is horrid in front of your mother. How would it seem in front of the esteemed? The good lady, sense of shame, will turn her back on those despicably guilty of being drunk. They have no sense of consequences, those who pay to lose their senses. One who is asleep is no different from the dead. One who consumes alcohol forever consumes poison. Those who are in a perpetual drunken stupor shall be sneered at by the knowing locals. Drop the pretense of never feeling merry while drinking. All that's hidden in your heart will tumble out. Making an intoxicated person see reason is like pursuing with a flame someone under water. While sober, will he not think of his crapulence when he sees others sloshed under the influence? Love not gambling even when you win. To win is akin to a fish biting the metallic hook on a fishing line. Can there ever be a rewarding course of life for a gambler who wins one to lose 100? If one keeps calling as the dice roll, their wealth shall roll away to others. Nothing else can cause as much poverty as the degrading and demeaning gambling. The dice, the casino, and the playing hand, those who lovingly embrace these lose everything. When one is enclasped by gambling, the imp of misfortune, they shall starve and suffer. When one enters the gambling den at dawn, their character and inheritance decline. It erodes wealth and imposes falsehood, gambling that causes torment and erases tenderness. Food, dress, learning, wealth, and fame, these five elude one who takes to the dice. Like the spirit that yet loves the body in torment, the gambler loves to wager despite the losses. Food and deed, both in excess and deficit, cause disease, induced by the three humors listed by the learned, starting with wind. The body needs no medicine if one eats after ensuring the earlier intake is digested. After digestion, eat in right measure. This is the way for the possessor of the body to prolong its being. After ascertaining digestion, when you feel quite hungry, eat in right measure, food that suits your constitution. If one eats after refusing incompatible food, there is no harm for their existence. Joy resides with one who knows what not and how much to eat. Likewise, disease rests with the glutton. One who cannot judge his extent of hunger and gobbles up greedily will be afflicted with boundless illness. Diagnose the disease, detect its root cause, discern its cure, and then act aptly. The learned medic should consider the state of the ailing, the extent of ailment, and the timing, and then treat. The ailing, the medic, the medicine, and the caregiver. The treatment encompasses all these four. Those of good birth stand apart through their sense of justice and sense of shame that come naturally for them. Proper behavior, truth, and modesty. Those of good birth do not lapse on these three. Those born in a family that treasures truth internalize these four: smile, generosity, sweet words, and not belittling anyone. Even if they are bound to gain millions, those of good lineage shall never stoop to do things beneath themselves. Their ability to give may dwindle, but those of ancient lineage do not depart from their character. Those who seek to live in harmony with their families of flawless descent do not do unworthy deeds spurred by vengeance and deceit. Any fault in a person of good descent stands out like the wart on the moon of the sky. If lack of compassion is seen while considering the welfare of others, aspersions are cast on their ancestry. The sprouting shoots betray the seed hidden in the soil. Words spoken portray the nature of their families. If one cares for his well-being, he needs a sense of shame. If one cares for his family, he needs to be humble before anyone. It may be essential and important, yet let it go if it is beneath your dignity. Fame and riches may beckon, but they'd not do ignoble deeds, those who seek high-mindedness besides honor. In times of prosperity, humility is needed, but during poverty, don your pride. When people slip beneath their dignified state, they are lowly as hair fallen from the head. A base act, as minor as a rosary pea, will make those as towering as a mountain to shrivel. It leads not to earthly fame, nor to a divine land. Why then must one scamper behind those who revile them? Better to be known that he died without stooping low than live by depending on those who humiliate him. Living on to preserve your body when the greatness of your character is gone, is that an elixir of life? The wild cow will cease living if a shred of hair is lost. Likewise, there are those who will shed their lives if disgraced. The world shall revere their fame, those who are proud enough to face death than ignominy. Reputation rests on possession of passion. It's a disgrace to strive to live if 'tis foregone. All beings are born equal. Distinction comes with difference in deeds. Eminent in stature, but not eminent in deed, is no eminence. Lowly in stature, but not lowly in deed, is no lowliness. Like women of virtue, greatness exists, due to steadfast adherence to its virtues. Those who are bestowed with greatness do deeds that aren't commonplace. The petty do not have it in them, the foresight to embrace and emulate the great. The undeserving, if eminence graces, pompous, lowly conduct ensues. Greatness has forever humility. Pettiness wallows in vanity. Greatness is devoid of pride. Pettiness is perfused with bombast. Greatness masks others' failings. Pettiness keeps wailing. For those who dutifully strive to be noble, to do all that's good is seen as natural. Being good within is nobility. All else is no quality. Love, guilt, beneficence, compassion, and truthfulness, on these 5 columns rests nobleness. The virtue of the ascetic is to not kill any being. The virtue of the noble is to never resort to blaming. Humility is the vital capability of the capable. To convert foes, the weapon of the noble. The mark of nobility, if you ask, is to concede with grace, defeat by the underdog. Of what use is being noble if one can't do good unto those who did evil? Poverty is no disgrace if you possess the strength of nobleness. Those known to be the ocean of nobility aren't perturbed, even when there is the proverbial flood. If the nobility of the noble does erode, the vast earth cannot bear its load. Affability with all will help achieve with ease the quality of being courteous. A kind heart and good heredity are considered. To make the quality of being well-mannered, physical resemblance makes not people similar. Similar qualities make them similar. Being likable and righteous, they serve all. Their good character the world shall extol. One who discerns others' nature and sees merit in foes won't deride others for a laugh that causes many troubles. The world exists because of courteous people, else it'll perish by sinking in its own soil. But for humanity, they are but a tree, though sharp as a rasp they may be. Even with those hostile and callously act, behaving ungraciously is a blot. For those with no faculty to have fun, darkness swamps the large earth despite the sun. Good milk spoiled by the vessel that is stained is wealth in the hands of the uncultured. Wealth all over the house stashed but is not used makes one impotent as if he is deceased. Wealth is all. Thinking thus, clinging and being ungenerous, is a delusion leading to a birth most inglorious. They seek to gain wealth but not fame, being mean. The presence of such men is earth's burden. What did he think is the legacy he'll leave, he who has nobody's love? Many billions one may make, but it means nothing if one is neither spending nor giving. Wealth is a illness when oneself it doesn't serve, and to the deserving one isn't disposed to give. A maiden of bounteous merit, being single if grayed, such is wealth that is not used to aid the deprived. Wealth of a person who is loved by none is a toxic fruit tree in the middle of a town. Devoid of love and denying oneself, wealth gained with no scruples, others shall seize. When the famed wealthy go through poverty, they resemble clouds that lost their bounty. Guilt is having scruples about one's action. Distinct from demureness of pretty-browed fine women, need for food and feeling of fear are common for all beings. Guilt is the distinctive feature of mankind. Food is the basis for all lives. The goodness of guilt is the basis for nobleness. For the noble, having guilt is an adornment. Without it, ain't their proud stride an ailment. If blame for others and self moves one to the same sense of shame, the world shall call them the home for guilt. Great men desire not the vast world under their reign without the protective fence of guilt. Their lives they may shed, but never their scruples to save their lives, they who by their scruples ever abide. If what shames others doesn't raise in him a qualm, virtue will flee him, feeling that shame. The family is hurt if one breaches convention. All good is spoilt if there is lack of guilt. The actions of those who, deep within, have no guilt is akin to a stringed puppet seeming alive, an illusion, to proclaim, "I shall never take my hands off to do one's duty, no acclaim can match that dignity." Tasks one takes on with persistence and profound wisdom, the people shall prosper through them. I'll serve my people. For the one who so said God shall gird up his robes and rush to his aid. When for his kindred one perseveres without relief, with no contriving, on its own, it'll turn out right. Doing no wrong, the one who serves his kin, the world shall embrace as its own. One will be known for his imposing command when he takes command of the house where he was born. Like the brave hearts do on a battlefield, the ablest takes charge of the household. To serve one's people look not for the ripe hour, being lethargic and egocentric makes all suffer. Is his body the bin for all stress? Who shields his kin from distress? The people who have not a good man to lean on shall fall with their base cut off by some suffering. The world tails the plow despite other pursuit. Even if one toils, farming remains most important. Farmers are the linchpin of the world. All others not farming, it does hold. Only they live, who eat from what they plow. Others follow, and to eat they kowtow. Who bring their land under their crops' shade, many states under their king's reign shall bade. They never beg, nor deny others, given what they seek, whose nature is to eat what they till and make. If tillers fold their hands still, sages who say, "I've given up desire," as such cannot stay. If one measure of soil is turned fine and dried to a quarter, good yield needs not a handful of manure. Worthier than plowing is to manure the field. Weeding done, worthier than watering is to secure the yield. If from the land her master stays off like a wife, she'll sulk and start a tiff. Mother Earth laughs at the sight of those who remain idle, pleading poverty. If you ask, what torments more than poverty? Only poverty can torment more than poverty. Poverty is a wretch. This life and the next does it snatch. Ancestral legacy and parlance crumble in totality due to hankering caused by poverty. From the high-born, too, vile words may be born when deprivation makes them so cast down. From the one misery named penury emanates many a worry. After deep reflection, they may say words of deep essence, yet what the poor say may be seen to have no sense. Poverty aligned to no virtue makes even one's mother who bore him to see him as a misfit. Did not my poverty kill me yesterday? Does it have to be back again today? One may snatch a nap amidst raging fire, but cannot sleep a wink in poverty dire. When want does not make one give up desire, it spells doom for salt and sour gruel next door. Seeks alms if you find those worthy of benefaction. If they refuse, blame is theirs and not yours. Seeking alms causes us great delight if what is sought is got without any plight. With ungrudging hearts, they view charity as a duty to stand before them and beg. There's a beauty. They know not withholding even in their dreams, same as giving it seems, asking them for alms. That the world has them who give and nothing conceal is why others appear before them and for alms appeal. When we see those without the foolishness of concealing, gone are all the ills of having nothing. Seeing givers who do not mock and deride, the heart delights and rejoices deep inside. If there be no mendicants, this vast moist world will resemble wooden puppets that come and go. Ah, what is there to brag about those who give if there be none to seek and gladly receive? The denied mendicant should never feel indignant. The pain of poverty is proof enough of its worth. Not concealing, they give with joy and are as dear as eyes. Yet to resist asking even from them is worth millions. Having to beg for survival, if anyone is destined, the maker of this world be damned. Nothing can be more brazen than banking on charity to end deprivation. No place is adequate to hold their nobility when, in direst straits, they seek no charity. Mere gruel made of clear water tastes sweetest when it is earned through earnest effort. Nothing but begging shames the tongue more, even if what is sought is water for the cow. I beg of all beggars, beg if you must, but beg not from those who conceal. The fragile boat of begging will be wrecked when it knocks against the rock of refusal. When I think of those who beg, my heart melts. When I think of those who refuse, it wilts. When one asks but is denied, his life departs. Where will he hide, the one who denies? By all appearances, the vile look so human, such resemblance I've nowhere seen. More gifted than those who know the right course are the vile. Their hearts have no remorse. Those who are base are like devas. They are free to do as they please. When they meet brutish people unfettered by scruples, the lowest of the low take pride in surpassing them. The conformity of the vile is forced by fear, and perhaps a wee bit by desire. Like the broadcasting drum are the vile, revealing everything confidential. The vile will not even wiggle their smeared dining fingers unless their cheeks are cracked by a clenched fist. A word is enough to move the noble to help. Crushed like a sugar cane, the vile may be of some use. When they see others well fed and well dressed, the vile are adept at getting their flaws exposed. When in trouble, themselves, the vile swiftly sell. What else do they have as a skill? The book of love. She with sturdy studs, is she an angel, a special peacock, or just a lady who makes me swoon? My heart is dazzled. The girl who I gazed at, with the gaze she returned, she seemed to resemble a bellicose angel coming with an army. What is known as death, I knew not before. Now I do. She comes with feminine graces and immense warring eyes. The eyes of this naive girl with feminine graces are warring with looks that devour the lives of those who see her. Is that death, or eyes, or doe? The gaze of the young lass has all these three. If only her cruel brows were not bent as a bow, her eyes would not shoot so much misery that makes me quiver. As a robe over a rutting elephant that covers its eyes lies a veil over her shapely bosom. My valor, which forced even foes who never faced me in battle to fear me, lies shattered before her glowing brow. Adorned with the innocent gaze of a gazelle, and modesty to boot, of what use to her are jewels made of extrinsic materials? Brewed spirits intoxicate only when they are consumed. They cannot, like love, enthrall even those who merely behold. Her gorging eyes have two gazes. One gaze inflicts the illness. The other gaze is remedy for that illness. Her discreet eyes steal a fleeting look. Half the love lies in it, not much more. She looked at me. Looking, she turned coy. That was how she watered the crop of our love. When I look at her, she stares at the ground. When I turn my gaze, she looks at me and smiles gently. Her look lets out not a single cue. Coyly she smiles as if she meant something else. She speaks as if she is hostile. She fakes anger. I do sense soon what she does mean. Harsh words with no real anger, and a put-on angry stare. These are the cues. She seems hostile but loves me true. A certain beauty lies in this pliant girl. Oh, the way she smiles, gently, her heart melting, when I look at her. We give each other such distant looks, like we're strangers. Only lovers can do that. When my eyes meet her eyes and concur, spoken words have no use. The five senses of sight, oral, taste, smell, and touch come alive, only with this girl of gleaming bangles. For any disease the cure lies elsewhere. My girl, decked with jewels, is herself the cure for the ailment she induced. When we find on the one we love a soft shoulder to sleep on, can it be sweeter, the divine world of the lotus-eyed God? It sears when I go far, it chills when I get near. Such a fire wherefrom did she acquire? The moment I desire anything, that very thing they seem to be. The shoulders of her, whose tresses flow down adorned with flowers. Whenever she embraces me, her touch, oh, her touch is so good, my life sprouts afresh. This artless maiden's arms are for sure made of nectar. Cuddling this woman, her complexion that of mango, wow! It is much the same as feeding others and sharing with them hard-earned wealth from our house. We both desire each other, and delightful it is. Our tight hug, which lets nothing betwixt, not even air. Pouting after a tiff, patching up and making out. These are the perks gained by those united in love. The more we learn, there is much unknown. Same it is with love. The more I lie with the bejeweled girl, the more I learn there are joys untold. Bless you, red chickweed flower. You're soft, no doubt. More delicate than you is she who I covet. How you're seduced my heart, when you see a flower. Flowers seen by all, you are mistaken, are not her eyes. She of supple arms, tender sprouts her body. Pearly is her smile, heady is her smell, spear-like her smeared eyes. Feeling it's no match, lily would wilt down and stare at the ground if it sees the eyes of her who wears graceful jewels. She has worn red chickweed flower without pinching out its stalk. Her slender waist may no more hear auspicious drums. The stars have become confused in their places, unable to discern between the moon and my maiden's face. The glistening moon that wanes and waxes is marred by vacant spaces. Is there a single taint on my maiden's face? Long live moon, I shall love you too if only you can be radiant as my girl's face. She has eyes like a broad flower. Moon, if you can resemble her face, you need not appear for everyone to see. Red chickweed flower and a swan's feather, under milady's feet, they are nothing but thorn fruit. He said, milk mixed with honey, it is saliva springing from her mouth with shiny teeth and sweet words. What is the soul to the body? Such is the bond between me and my lady. Pupil of my eye, go away. There ain't room enough for the girl I love, she with a fine brow. The girl decked with splendid jewels is my very life when she is with me, and brings on death when she leaves me. I shall remember the nature of her with bright warring eyes, if I ever forget her, but I know not forgetting. She said, he never leaves my eyes. When I blink he remains, and yet stays unhurt. He, my love, is exceptional. My beloved resides within my eyes. I never paint them lest he vanishes for that brief time. My beloved resides within my heart. I fear eating food that is steaming hot, lest he gets burnt. If I shut my eyes, he would be veiled. Knowing this, I sleep not. Hence the townsfolk call him uncaring. He lives with delight always in my heart. But the townsfolk call him loveless as he dwells apart. For those pining due to unrequited love, how else can they draw strength than ride the mock palm horse? To proclaim love and get relief. The body and the soul, able to bear no more, have shed their reserve. That inhibits riding the palm horse, declaring love. Shyness and chivalry I possessed once before. All I am left with now is the mock palm horse the love-struck men mount. The gusting stream of love and lust will sweep away my raft of modesty and manly gallantry. She of small bangles, beaded with garlands, has left me with the mock palm horse and blues of the dusk. My eyes refuse sleep cause of this naive girl. Even at midnight I think of mounting the horse of palm fronds. She said, pining is aroused by a sea of love. Yet we don't mount the palm horse. What can indeed be better than to be born a woman? Love spared me not, for my reserve that is rare, nor thought I deserve pity. It has breached my covertness and come out in the open. No one knows, thinking so. The love I conceal has revealed itself on the streets via whispers and gossip. Ignorant folks sneer at me when they see me. Ah, they haven't been through what I have undergone. My precious life is saved by the rays of rumor, and this, to my good luck, no others are aware of. Not knowing the value of her whose eyes are like flowers, this town has got up a rumor about me. The rumor spread within the town. Is it not gain to me? It is as though that were obtained that may not be. The rumor rising makes my love to rise. My love would lose its power and languish otherwise. The more man drinks, the more he ever drunk would be. The more my love's revealed, the sweeter 'tis to me. It was but a single day that I looked on my lover, but the rumor thereof has spread like the seizure of the moon by the serpent. My anguish grows apace. The town's report manures it. My mother's word waters it. To say that one could extinguish passion by rumor is like extinguishing fire with ghee. When the departure of him who said, fear not, has put me to shame before others, why need I be ashamed of scandal? If we desire, who loves will grant what we require. This town sends forth the rumor we desire. If it is not departure, tell me. But if it is your speedy return, tell it to those who would be alive then. It once was perfect joy to look upon his face, but now the fear of parting saddens each embrace. To trust henceforth is hard if ever he depart, even he who knows his promise and my breaking heart. If he depart, who fondly said, fear not, what blames incurred by those who trusted to his reassuring word? If you would save my life, restrain him from going, he who fills my life. If he depart, hardly we meet again. To cherish longing hope that he should ever gracious be is hard, when he could stand, and of departure speak to me. The bracelet slipping from my wrist announced before departure of the prince that rules the ocean shore. Painful is it to live in a friendless town, but far more painful is it to part from one's lover. Fire burns when touched, but the sickness of love even burns when removed. As if there were many indeed that can consent to the impossible, kill their pain, endure separation, and yet continue to live afterwards. I would conceal my pain, but see, it surging and swells, as streams to those that draw from ever-springing wells. I cannot hide this pain of mine, yet shame restrains when I would tell it out to him who caused my pains. My soul, like porter's pole, within my wearied frame, sustains a twofold burthen poised of love and shame. A sea of love, 'tis true I see stretched out before, but not the trusty raft that crosses safely to shore. Who work us trouble in friendship's trustful hour, what will they prove when angry tempests lower? The pleasure of lust is as great as the sea, but the pain of lust is far greater. I have swam across the terrible flood of lust, but have not seen its shore. Even at midnight I am alone. Still I live. All living souls in slumber soft she steeps, but me alone kind night for her company keeps. The long, lone nights of these days are far more cruel than the heartless one who is torturing me. When I of mine would, as my soul go forth to him, it knows not how through floods of its own tears to swim. They showed me him, and then my endless pain I saw. Why then should weeping eyes complain? How glancing eyes, that rash, unweeting looked that day, with sorrow measureless are wasting now away. They themselves looked eagerly on him, and now they weep. Is not this to be laughed at? Those eyes have wept till all the fount of tears is dry, that brought upon me pain that knows no remedy. The eye that wrought me more than sea could hold of troubles is suffering pangs that banish all repose. The eyes that have given me this disease have themselves been seized with this suffering. Oh, I am much delighted. Aching, aching, let those exhaust their stream, that melting, melting, that day gazed on him. He is indeed here who loved me with his lips, but not with his heart, but my eyes suffer from not seeing him. When he is away, they do not sleep. When he is present, they do not sleep. In either case, mine eyes endure unbearable agony. It is not difficult for the people of this place to understand the secret of those whose eyes, like mine, are, as it were, beaten drums. I willed my lover absent should remain, of pining sickly hue to whom shall I complain? He gave. This sickly hue thus proudly speaks, then climbs, and all my frame its chariot makes. He has taken away my beauty and modesty, and given me instead disease and sickliness. I think of him, and what I speak about is but his excellence. Still is there sickliness, and this is deceitful. My lover there went forth to roam. This pallor of my frame usurps his place at home. As darkness waits till lamp expires to fill the place, this pallor waits till I enjoy no more my lord's embrace. I lay in his embrace, I turned unwittingly. Forthwith this hue, as you might grasp it, came on me. Besides those who say, she has turned sickly, there are none who say, he has abandoned her. If he is clear of guilt who has conciliated me to his departure, let my body suffer its due and turn sickly. 'Tis well, though men deride me for my sickly hue of pain, if they from calling him unkind, who won my love, refrain. The women who are beloved by those whom they love, have not got the stoneless fruit of sexual delight? The bestowal of love by the beloved on those who love them is like the rain raining at the proper season on those who live by it. who love and are beloved, to them alone belongs the boast. We've made life's very joys our own. Those well-beloved will luckless prove, unless beloved by those they love. He who is beloved by me, what will he do to me, if I am not beloved by him? Love on one side is bad, like balanced load by Porter borne. Love on both sides is good. Would not Cupid, who abides and contends in one party, only witness the pain and sorrow in that party? There is no one in the world so hard-hearted as those who can live without receiving even a kind word from their beloved. Though he, my heart, desires no grace, accords to me, yet every accent of his voice is melody. Tell him thy pain that loves not thee. Farewell, my soul, fill up the sea. From thought of her unfailing gladness springs, sweeter than palm rice wine, the joy love brings. How great is love! Behold its sweetness past belief. Think on the lover, and the spirit knows no grief. A fit of sneezing threatened, but it passed away. He seemed to think of me, but do his fancies stray? He continues to abide in my soul. Do I likewise abide in his? He who has imprisoned me in his soul, is he ashamed to enter incessantly into mine? I live by remembering my former intercourse with him. If it were not so, how could I live? I have never forgotten the pleasure. Even to think of it burns my soul. Could I live if I should ever forget it? He will not be angry however much I may think of him. Is it not so much the delight my beloved affords me? My precious life is wasting away by thinking too much on the cruelty of him who said we were not different. May you live, O moon. Do not set, that I might see him who has departed without quitting my soul. It came and brought to me, that nightly vision rare, a message from my love. What feast shall I prepare? If my dark, carp-like eye will close in sleep, as I implore, the tale of my long-suffering life I'll tell my loved one. My life lasts because in my dream I behold him who does not favor me in my waking hours. There is pleasure in my dream, because in it I seek and obtain him who does not visit me in my wakefulness. I saw him in my waking hours, and then it was pleasant. I see him just now in my dream, and it is equally pleasant. Were there no such thing as wakefulness, my beloved who visited me in my dream would not depart from me. The cruel one who would not favor me in my wakefulness, what right has he to torture me in my dreams? When I am asleep, he rests on my shoulders, but when I awake, he hastens into my soul. They who have no dear ones to behold in their dreams blame him who visits me not in my waking hours. The women of this place say he has abandoned me in my wakefulness. I think they have not seen him visit me in my dreams. Live, O you evening, are you the former evening? No, you are the season that slays married women. A long life to you, O dark evening. You are sightless. Is your helpmate also as hard-hearted as mine? The evening that once came in with trembling and dimness now brings me an aversion for life and increasing sorrow. In the absence of my lover, evening comes in like slayers on the field of slaughter. What good have I done to morning, and what evil to evening? The pangs that evening brings I never knew, till he, my wedded spouse, from me withdrew. This illness buds forth in the morning, expands all day long, and blossoms in the evening. The shepherd's flute now sounds as a fiery forerunner of night, and has become a weapon that slays me. When night comes on confusing everyone's mind, the whole town will lose its sense and be plunged in sorrow. My hitherto unextinguished life is now lost in this bewildering night at the thought of him who has the nature of wealth. While we endure the unbearable sorrow, your eyes weep for him who is gone afar, and shun the sight of fragrant flowers. The discolored eyes that shed tears profusely seem to betray the unkindness of our beloved. The shoulders that swelled on the day of our union now seem to announce our separation clearly to the public. In the absence of your consort, your shoulders having lost their former beauty and fullness, your bracelets of pure gold have become loose. The loosened bracelets and the shoulders from which the old beauty has faded relate the cruelty of the pitiless one. I am greatly pained to hear you call him a cruel man, just because your shoulders are reduced and your bracelets loosened. Can you, oh my soul, gain greatness by relating to the so-called cruel one the clamor of my fading shoulders? When I once loosened the arms that were in embrace, the forehead of the gold-braceleted women turned sallow. When but a breath of breeze penetrated our embrace, her large, cool eyes became sallow. Was it at the sight of what the bright forehead had done that the sallowness of her eyes became sad? O my soul, will you not think and tell me some medicine, be it what it may, that can cure this incurable illness? May you live, O my soul, while he is without love, for you to suffer is simple foolishness. O my soul, why remain here and suffer thinking of him? There are no lewd thoughts of you in him who has caused you this disease of sorrow. O my soul, take my eyes also with you. If not, these would eat me up in their desire to see him. O my soul, can he who loves not, though he is beloved, be abandoned, saying he hates me now? O my soul, when you see the dear one who removed dislike by intercourse, you are displeased and continue to be so. No, your displeasure is simply false. O my good soul, give up either lust or honor. As for me, I can endure neither. You are a fool, O my soul, to go after my departed one, while you mourn that he is not kind enough to favor you. O my soul, to whom would you repair, while the dear one is within yourself? If I retain in my heart him who has left me without befriending me, I shall lose even the inward beauty that remains. My precious life is saved by the rays of rumor, and this, to my good luck, no others are aware of. Even at midnight is my mind worried by lust, and this one thing, alas, is without mercy. I would conceal my lust, but alas, it yields not to my will, but breaks out like a sneeze. I say I would be firm, but alas, my illness breaks out from its concealment and appears in public. The dignity that would not go after an absent lover is not known to those who are sticken by love. The sorrow I have endured by desiring to go after my absent lover, in what way is it excellent? I know nothing like shame when my beloved does from love just what is desired by me. Are not the enticing words of my trick-abounding roguish lover the weapon that breaks away my feminine firmness? I said I would fake dislike, and so went away, but I embraced him the moment I say my mind began to unite with him. Is it possible for those whose hearts melt like fat in the fire to say they can fake a strong dislike and remain so? My finger has worn away by marking on the wall the days he has been absent, while my eyes have lost their luster and begin to fail. Oh, you bright jeweled maid, if I forget him today, my shoulders will lose their beauty, even in the other life, and make my bracelets loose. Still live by longing for the arrival of him who has gone out of love for victory, and with valor as his guide. My heart is rid of its sorrow, and swells with rapture to think of my absent lover returning with his love. May I look on my lover till I am satisfied, and thereafter will vanish the sallowness of my slender shoulders. May my husband return some day, and then will I enjoy him so as to destroy all this agonizing sorrow. This illness of lust is manured by the talk of women and watered by the harsh words of my mother. Let the king fight and gain victories, but let me be united to my wife and feast the evening. To those who suffer waiting for the day of return of their distant lovers, one day is as long as 7 days. After my wife has died of a broken heart, what good will there be if she is to receive me, has received me, or has even embraced me? Though you would conceal your feelings, your painted eyes would not, for, transgressing their bounds, they tell me something. Unusually great is the female simplicity of your maid, whose beauty fills my eyes and whose shoulders resemble the bamboo. There is something that is implied in the beauty of this woman, like the thread that is visible in a garland of gems. There is something in the unmatured smile of this maid, like the fragrance that is contained in an unblossomed bud. The well-meant departure of her whose bangles are tight-fitting contains a remedy that can cure my great sorrow. The embrace that fills me with comfort and gladness is capable of enduring my former sorrow and meditating on his want of love. My bracelets have understood before me the mental separation of him who rules the cool seashore. It was but yesterday my lover departed from me, and it is 7 days since my complexion turned sallow. She looked at her bracelets, her tender shoulders, and her feet. This was what she did there significantly. To express their lovesickness by their eyes and resort to begging bespeaks more than ordinary female excellence. To please by thought and cheer by sight is peculiar, not to liquor, but lust. If women have a lust that exceeds even the measure of the palmyra fruit, they will not desire to fake dislike even as much as the millet. Though my eyes disregard me and do what is pleasing to my husband, still will they not be satisfied unless they see him. Oh, my friend, I was prepared to fake displeasure, but my mind, forgetting it, was ready to embrace him. Like the eyes which see not the pencil that paints it, I cannot see my husband's fault just when I meet him. When I see my husband, I do not see any faults, but when I do not see him, I do not see anything but faults. Like those who leap into a stream which they know will carry them off, why should a wife fake dislike which she knows cannot hold out long? Oh, you rogue, your breast is to me what liquor is to those who rejoice in it, though it only gives them an unpleasant disgrace. Love is tender as an opening flower. In season, due to gain its perfect bliss, is rapture known to few. She once faked dislike in her eyes, but the warmth of her embrace exceeded my own. You see, his heart is his alone, O heart. Why not be all my own? O my soul, although you have known him who does not love me, still do you go to him, saying, he will not be displeased. O my soul, do you follow him at pleasure under the belief that the ruined have no friends? O my soul, you would not first seem sulky and then enjoy him. Who then would in future consult you about such things? My soul fears when it is without him. It also fears when it is with him. It is subject to incessant sorrow. My mind has been here in order to eat me up, as it were, whenever I think of him in my solitude. I have even forgotten my modesty, having been caught in my foolish mind, which is not dignified enough to forget him. My soul, which clings to life, thinks only of his own gain in the belief that it would be disgraceful for it to despise him. And who will aid me in my hour of grief if my own heart comes not to my relief? It is hardly possible for strangers to behave like relations when one's own soul acts like a stranger. Let us witness a while his keen suffering, just fake dislike and embrace him not. A little dislike is like salt in proportion. To prolong it a little is like salt a little too much. For men not to embrace those who have faked dislike is like torturing those already in agony. Not to reconcile those who have faked dislike is like cutting a faded creeper at its root. An increased shyness in those whose eyes are like flowers is beautiful even to good and virtuous husbands. Love without hatred is ripened fruit. Without some lesser strife, fruit immature. A lover's quarrel brings its pain, when mind afraid asks doubtful, will reunion sweet be long delayed? What avails sorrow when I am without a wife who can understand the cause of my sorrow? Like water in the shade, dislike is delicious only in those who love. It is nothing but strong desire that makes her mind unite with me, who can leave her to her own dislike. From thy regard all womankind enjoys an equal grace. O thou of wandering fickle mind, I shrink from thine embrace. One day we silent, sulked, he sneezed. The reason well I knew, he thought that I, to speak well pleased, would say, Long life to you. Even if I were adorned with a garland of branch flowers, she would say I did so to show it to another woman. When I said I loved her more than any other woman, she said, More than others, yes, more than others, and remained sulky. While here I live, I leave you not, I said to calm her fears. She cried, There then, I read your thought, and straight dissolved in tears. When I said I had remembered her, she said I had forgotten her, and relaxing her embrace, began to fake dislike. When I sneezed, she blessed me, but at once changed her mind and wept, asking, At the thought of which woman did you sneeze? When I suppressed my sneezing, she wept, saying, I suppose you did so to hide from me your own people's remembrance of you. Even when I try to calm her jealous mind by soothing and coaxing, she is displeased and says, This is the way you behave towards other women. Even when I look on her contemplating her beauty, she is displeased and says, With whose thought have you thus looked on my person? Although my husband is free from defects, the way in which he embraces me is such as to make me fake dislike. His love will increase, though it may at first seem to fade through the short-lived distress caused by my dislike. Is there a celestial land that can please like the faked dislike of those whose union resembles that of earth and water? In prolonged dislike after an embrace, there is a weapon that can break my heart. Though free from defects, men feel pleased when they cannot embrace the delicate shoulders of those whom they love. To digest what has been eaten is more delightful than to eat more. Likewise, love is more delightful in dislike than intercourse. Those are conquerors whose dislike has been defeated, and that is proved by the love which follows. Will I enjoy once more through her dislike the pleasure of that love that makes her forehead perspire? May the bright jeweled one fake dislike, and may the night be prolonged for me to implore her. Dislike adds delight to love, and a hearty embrace thereafter will add delight to dislike.